the leader, Blaine Wilson, will be on the horse when we come back to Toledo.
Back in Toledo, here's a look at some of the other pommel horse routines. John McCrady's shoulder surgery didn't affect him too badly in the pommel horse. He scores a 9.55, a nice finish for this routine. And Alexei Vodopayev had some big troubles on the pommel horse. As his feet came around, he slams into the horse, stops all of his momentum, major deduction. And Mihai Baggio, on always one of his better events, the pommel horse, does a good job, able to score a 9.5.
And now here's Blaine Wilson, 23 years old, says he was a bit in awe of the Olympics in '96, but told us he's changed since then.
I've grown up, you know, since the Olympic Games. You know, it's been 2 years, and, you know, I feel like I've gotten older, a little bit more mature since then, especially with learning new tricks and learning, you know, just learning about gymnastics in general.
And pommel horse is a very important event for Blaine to see, especially at the beginning, how many skills he can do on one pommel to get bonus points. Starts with a circle. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If he gets to 8, it's a major accomplishment. There's 8 skills in one pommel right there. That's big bonus points. So far, so good for Blaine. Little pike on the circles, could extend it more. I think he's very good Russian sequences there.
By men's gymnastics standards, he is young at 23. Has he hit his peak, or is he hitting his peak now?
No, he's hitting his peak. He's got a ways to go. He should be even better in Sydney. I think he's really starting to get the confidence that he needs from winning so many competitions now. It just keeps him going. Made it through the routine, little form break, but he's on his way. There's the 8 skills in one pommel. You can see a really close look at how small the margin of error is as to where he can place his hands. 1/2 inch one way or the other. Either he's off the pommel or he's on top of the other hand, and so it's very difficult.
Hey, bro, Amy. What's up? All the guys.
Another great score for Blaine Wilson, a 9.90.
Watch out, man.
So he hangs on to the lead. Evgeny Shabaev on the horse now. He was in second place after the first rotation.
Had a lot of tough breaks in his career. Wants to pick up and really make a name for himself in the sport. Here's more single palm work. There's 3 skills so far. 4, 5, 6, 7. Can he get to 8? Does it. There he goes. Those 8 skills gives him the extra bonus points.
You mentioned the setbacks he's had in February of last year. He smacked his left hand on the high bar and broke his thumb. That was just one in a series of injuries.
I'll tell you, and a broken thumb in gymnastics really prevents you from doing most of the skills in the sport, especially where you're grabbing onto pommels or parallel bars or rings. He's doing fine here, though. Looks very good. That's going to score very well. On the final half of his routine, look, he's got a great toe point. Nice extended circles. Here's the flare, taking him up to a handstand. And a little full turn around the pommels. Gives him another bonus.
Shabaev scores a 9.8. That will move him a little closer to Blaine Wilson. Here's Chris Waller, 3-time national champion on the pommel horse. The 1992 Olympics, he placed 5th in this event, but it was so close, he missed the gold medal by just a 1/10 of a point.
And it was so frustrating for him because he was in first after his performance, and one by one, his gymnast came up and knocked him down to second, then the third, and then out of contention for a medal. A great performance, though. It's clearly his best event. Travels across the horse, alternating his hands in and out of the pommels. As opposed to doing that single pommel work, Chris makes use of traveling up and down the horse to get some bonus points. Always had nice clean lines, good toe point, good extension on the scissors. Here's a flare sequence. Working without the pommels, back onto the pommel, full turn, up. He wanted to go to the other side of the horse for his dismount. It's a little bit of a mistake there, but he kept his form, kept his composure. He'll score well. Now here Chris works going back and forward, kind of going coast to coast from one end of the horse to the other, working by alternating his hands in the pommels. Then working back forward again. It's difficult facing in the longitudinal direction because he has to clear the horse in both the front and the back of his swing. It's very easy to hit the shins in the back of the swing on the horse, but Chris stays nice and high.
How you doing?
And it is a good score for Waller, a 9.8. Let's go backstage now to Scott Lasky. He's with John Roethlisberger.
John, new wife, new home.
Yep.
What's the new story with the gymnastics career?
There's no new story.
Okay.
I'm right where I was before the '96 Olympic Games. I'm training serious. I want to go for the 2000 Games and, you know, hopefully be a part of that team and be a part of a winning medal experience.
All right. What are some of the things you're really working on now?
Oh, there's so much new stuff. I mean, the new code is just, it's brutal. So, I mean, it's particularly floor and parallel bars for me, but every event, it's going to be total overhaul. And right now, it's a little bit of a struggle, but, you know, you got to stick with it, and it's new for everybody, so it's a great challenge.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Scott. After 2 rotations, here are the standings for the men. Blaine Wilson still in first place. Evgeny Shabaev holding on to second, and a tie for third, Chris Waller and John Roethlisberger. The men finished day 1 on the still rings. We'll have that when we return to Toledo. Dominique Moceanu has looked impressive in this event, as has Shannon Miller, who set the pace early on the bars. But Amy Chow outdid the field and for the second week in a row scored a perfect 10 and pulled ahead. As expected, the men were dominated by Blaine Wilson, and now he's the guy to beat. Welcome back to the CBS Sports Spectacular, everyone. Andrea Joyce along with Peter Vidmar and Julianne McNamara. Julianne, as usual, Amy Chow and Shannon Miller battling it out for the lead. But what about the 2 Dominiques? Both of them training for the Goodwill Games. They look awfully good.
They look great, especially Dominique Moceanu. She's made great improvements from last week. She really looks comfortable. She's getting into her rhythm, looks a lot happier. And Dominique Dawes, she's just picking up from where she left off last week.
And talk about looking good. Blaine Wilson looks like he's going to run away with this competition.
Yeah, I'll tell you, don't expect him to lose any ground on the next event. It's going to be the rings. It's clearly his best event. He was an Olympic finalist on the rings. Right now, it's just a battle for second place.
And here's how things stand for the men. As we mentioned, Blaine Wilson building a comfortable lead. Evgeny Shabaev in second, followed by Chris Waller and John Roethlisberger. Set to go now on the still rings, John Roethlisberger, member of the national team since 1989. 27 years old. 4-time national all-around champion. What an incredible career he's had.
Yeah, and there was a long stretch where he was clearly the best gymnast in the country. He would win national championships by many points, and he just was the best in the country. And now he's had some struggles, but he's made the decision to go on to Sydney, and so let's look for some very consistent performances from him in the future.
Well, he had said last year that he would only continue as long as his body held up, and as we said earlier, his body has held up remarkably well.
Right, and this is one event where if there are any problems, any creaks in the bones, you're going to feel it on rings. And yet John's looking pretty good. Little miss on the back giant, though. That's going to cost him. He gained some swing there. That took a lot of energy there. Now watch this. Here's his dismount sequence. Left out one of the double backs within the rings. Decided to bail out early and did something different than his warm-up. Just did a double back flip, holding onto the rings into his half-in, half-out dismount.
John is a graduate of the University of Minnesota.
Watch this back upright. He doesn't quite make it up to the handstand, and he's forced then to bail out of the handstand too soon. That generates more swing that he wants, gets him into trouble.
Two words to describe that. Ugly. Rough, baby. Hey, Calvel, how you doing?
Yeah, right.
Roethlisberger was tied for third coming into this rotation, but scores just a 9.50 on the rings.